Hello there. Good morning and welcome to Luke chapter 7. Now, why do I say good morning? Well, because right now where I'm at, it's morning time, very early in the morning. But that's when I like to film. So, hey, good day to you and welcome to Silver Creek Church. Matthew Nichols here, and we are doing another chapter in Luke chapter 7. Seven's got to be good, right? 7 is a good number. So let's get started right now. Let's go. After Jesus had finished teaching the people, he went to Capernaum. In that town, an army officer's servant was sick and about to die. The officer liked this servant very much, and when he heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish leaders to ask him to come and heal the servant. The leaders went to Jesus and begged him to do something. They said, "This man deserves your help. He loves our nation and even built us a meeting place." Hold it right there a second. Did I hear that right? Jewish leaders, now leaders meaning that these are people who are like right? The people who frankly haven't liked Jesus up to this point are coming to Jesus and saying, "Could you do us a solid? Could you go and heal somebody?" And he's a really good guy. He's Roman, I know. He's an officer. Yeah, we all know what we think of the military. But you got to do something, please. He's a good guy. He even built us a meeting place. So Jesus is going to do this, but this is so unusual that the Jewish leaders, the ones who we know will later ultimately want Jesus crucified, are recognizing he can do something no one else can do, and they're about to ask him to do this. Let's keep reading. So Jesus went with them. When Jesus wasn't far from the house, the officer sent some friends to tell him, "Lord, don't go to any trouble for me. I am not good enough for you to come into my house, and I am certainly not worthy to come to you. Just say the word, and my servant will get well. I have officers who give orders to me, and I have soldiers who take orders from me. I could say to one of them, 'Go,' and he goes. I could say to another, 'Come,' and he comes. I could say to my servant, 'Do this,' and he will do it." When Jesus heard this, he was so surprised that he turned and said to the crowd following him, "In all of Israel, I've never found anyone with this much faith." Hold on a second. Are you paying attention here? Are you picturing in your mind? There's a crowd following Jesus. I want you to know how many times, as we're reading scripture, how many times they point out to you that there is a crowd, a big group of people, witnesses, eyewitnesses to what's happening to these events. Let's keep reading. The officer's friends returned and found the servant well. Soon Jesus and his disciples were on their way to the town of Nain, and a big crowd was going along with them. As they came near the gate of town, they saw people carrying out a body of a widow's only son. Many people from the town were walking along with her. When the Lord saw the woman, he felt sorry for her and said, "Don't cry." Hold on a second. Pause. Remember this. Jesus understood the pain. Jesus doesn't say to you, "Suck it up, buttercup. Keep going forward. Don't cry." That's not Jesus. When you're crying, when you're hurting, this Jesus here is the Jesus that says, "Come here. Come here. I feel it." And he's going to cry with you. He's going to hold you. He knows. Let's keep reading. Jesus went over and touched the stretcher on which the people were carrying the dead boy. They stopped, and Jesus said, "Young man, get up." The boy sat up and began to speak. Jesus then gave him back to his mother. Everyone was frightened and praised God. Pause a second. Frightened? Do you think? A dead boy gets up and says, "Hi, everybody. Hello." I mean, imagine this. You're in a funeral, and it's a kid that maybe your family knew, so everyone's heartbroken. When a child dies, it's so painful for everyone because, it's just not, it feels like it's just not meant to be. They're a child after all. But what if during this funeral, there's the casket in the front, closed casket. The minister speaking. The minister says, hey, you know what? It's not his time yet. Boy, get up. And the casket opens. The kid sits up, looks at you in the crowd and says, hey, everybody. Yeah, it's going to freak you out. People are probably going to be frightened. People are probably going to stand up and go, exit where? I'm out of here. Okay, so it's freaky. It's weird, Land of the Walking Dead. No, but this kid is wide awake, right? These people were frightened because they're like, this isn't supposed to happen. But it did. And crowds, groups of people saw it. Let's keep reading. They said, a great prophet is here with us. God has come to his people. News about Jesus spread all over Judea and everywhere else in that part of the country. John's followers told John everything that was being said about Jesus. Pause a second. I just want to point out, this is John the Baptist that we're talking about, okay? John's followers, John the Baptist, saw everything that Jesus was doing. Pick back up. So he sent two of them to ask the Lord, are you the one we should be looking for, or must we wait for someone else? When these messengers came to Jesus, they said, John the Baptist sent us to ask, are you the one we should be looking for? Or are we supposed to wait for someone else? At that time, Jesus was healing many people who were sick or in pain, or were troubled by evil spirits. And he was giving sight to a lot of blind people. Jesus said to the messengers sent by John, go and tell John what you have seen and heard. Blind people are now able to see, and the lame can walk. People who have leprosy are being healed, and the deaf can now hear. The dead are raised to life, and the poor are hearing the good news. God will bless everyone who doesn't reject me because of what I do. After John's messengers had gone, Jesus began speaking to the crowds about John. What kind of person did you go out into the desert to see? Was he like tall grass blown about by the wind? What kind of man did you really go out to see? Was he someone dressed in fine clothes? People who wear expensive clothes and live in luxury are in the king's palace. What then did you go out to see? Was he a prophet? He certainly was. I tell you that he was more than a prophet. In the scriptures, God calls John his messenger and says, I am sending my messenger ahead of you to get things ready for you. No one ever born on this earth is greater than John. But whoever is least important in God's kingdom is greater than John. Everyone had been listening to John. Even the tax collectors had obeyed God and had done what was right by letting John baptize them. But the Pharisees and the experts in the law of Moses refused to obey God and be baptized by John. Jesus went on to say, what are you people like? What kind of people are you? You are like children sitting in the market and shouting to each other. We played the flute, but you would not dance. We sang a funeral song, but you would not cry. John the Baptist did not go around eating and drinking. And you said, John has a demon in him. But because the Son of Man goes around eating and drinking, you say, Jesus eats and drinks too much. He is even a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is shown to be right by what its followers do. A Pharisee invited Jesus to have dinner with him. So Jesus went to the Pharisee's home and got ready to eat. When a sinful woman in that town found out that Jesus was there, she bought an expensive bottle of perfume. Then she came and stood behind Jesus. She cried and started washing his feet with her tears and drying them with her hair. The woman kissed his feet and poured the perfume on them. The Pharisee who had invited Jesus saw this and said to himself, if this man really were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. He would know that she is a sinner. Jesus said to the Pharisee, Simon, I have something to say to you. Teacher, what is it? Simon replied. Jesus told him, 2 people were in debt to a moneylender. One of them owed him 500 silver coins, and the other owed him 50. Since neither of them could pay him back, The moneylender said that they didn't have to pay him anything. Which one of them will like him more? Simon answered, I suppose it would be the one who had owed more and didn't have to pay it back. You are right, Jesus said. He turned toward the woman and said to Simon, have you noticed this woman? When I came into your home, you didn't give me any water so I could wash my feet, but she has washed my feet with her tears and dried them with her hair. Pause a second. We have customs too. We have customs, right? When someone comes to your home, after they've knocked at the door or ring the doorbell, you invite them to come inside, which is, showing kindness, respect. Come in. And then you ask them, would you like something to drink? If it's the right time of day, or if you've got something, you might even say, hey, can I offer you a snack? You want something to eat? Are you hungry? But you show that person honor. You show them respect. We call it manners. We call it proper etiquette, right? It's our custom that we do when someone comes in the home. Back at that time, the custom was because everybody had dirty, stanky feet, all right? You're walking around in sandals all day. Just imagine it. The streets are all dirt with a lot of poo-poo and different things running through the streets because there was no indoor toilets, right? So it was dirty. It was stanky on your feet. So when you came into a home, they were going to offer you, it was common, offer them something to wash their feet with. But this guy didn't do that. Jesus is pointing out, this woman, she came in here and she did the things that you wouldn't even do. So, Jesus is turning the tables on this Pharisee. And it's an amazing moment where Jesus is pointing out, as he said a few verses ago. Remember a few verses ago when it said, the least of these are greater, right? Jesus is always pointing out that the way that he's doing things from now on, no longer does it mean you're important just because of the title you have, because of the position, who you are in the community, the civic leader. What makes you important is when you make yourself less than someone else, when you take a position of humility, when you take a position of, hey, you first, me second, that's what makes you greater. That's what love looks like. This love definition that Jesus is giving us through his life. He's redefining love and how love looks when it's in action. Man, this is incredible. Let's finish reading. Verse 45. You didn't greet me with a kiss, but from the time I came in, she has not stopped kissing my feet. You didn't even pour olive oil on my head, but she has poured expensive perfume on my feet. So I tell you that all her sins are forgiven, and that is why she has shown great love. But anyone who has been forgiven for only a little will show only a little love. Then Jesus said to the woman, your sins are forgiven. Some other guests started saying to one another, who is this who dares to forgive sins? But Jesus told the woman, because of your faith, you are now saved. May God give you peace. That's chapter 7 for today, guys. One of the things I want you to catch, pay attention to the fact that crowds, that groups of people were witnessing what was happening. So when someone says to you, hey, I'm not really sure I can believe everything that's said in the Bible about Jesus, because, hey, it's pretty crazy out there stuff, and it's miraculous, and, who's to say that it was historically recorded accurately? Here's the thing. You can't help but record something when everybody sees it. Think of 9/11. Think of 9/11 when the two towers fell. Do you think anybody would dispute in this country that actually happened? Do you think it's possible people could say, well, the cameras were all, the TV cameras, it was a conspiracy. They're all manipulated. Let's just say somebody said that. But you'd say, hello, there were thousands of people in the city who experienced it. You can't erase that because they saw it. This is what's happening here. This is what's happening in the life of Jesus. There are huge crowds of people who are witnessing what is happening. That's how we know. That's how we know it really happened. I'll see you next time, Luke chapter 8. Bye-bye.